All right, we are live. More rapid games. I'm a master for people tuning in, explaining move by move. Not bullet today. I mean, I was debating if it's bullet, rapid. We're gonna play only rapid today. Let me see one thing. I want to make sure everything is correct though before. Want to make sure everything is. We are live, supposedly. So I want to make sure everything is okay. Everything is okay. All right. We are indeed live. All right. Let's dance. Let's dance, folks. All right. We start. Minus 100. Let's try minus 25. I don't think we're going to find anybody, but we'll try. You know, we are closing into 2500, which means no opponents. No opponents. The higher you get in rapid, the more you don't have opponents. Unless you do like minus 200. And even then, there's no guarantee. No guarantee to find an opponent right away. Still waiting for a game, which is laughable. See, this is actually the point. No game at all. No game minus 50. We're probably going to do like minus 50, minus 100, minus 150. All right, we found somebody. 2010. Nice. Nice, sir. All right, let's play knight f6. You know, c4. Let's play king's Indian. He's playing, this is probably the slow kind of Defiant Shadow version, which is kind of slow. I mean, it's probably safer, but it could be English, right? As opposed to English kind of stuff. That's King's Indian. E5 is probably next. So he could castle, he could play E4. We play E5. So he could play here knight E7. So he could also take though, but supposedly take is not effective enough. I mean, black is not really having any concern in this kind of lines. So d5 97 is probably the most precise way to play, and then potentially knight h5 f5. You break on f5, King's Indian kind of ideas. He could also play bishop e3, but it feels like also too slow in some lines. He could also castle, but I think this is takeable. Or maybe even bishop g4. Which may be forcing like this kind of ideas anyway, in one way or the other. He plays here knight e7. You know, you could play knight b8, but it's kind of slow. Eventually, knight e8, knight h5, f5 kind of ideas. You want to break on f5 as much as possible. So usually they play b4. You could play bishop e3. You could castle. There's a lot of options here what you could do. Probably b4 is met by a5 at this point. Maybe just castle for now. Bishop g. Yeah, so maybe he's preparing b4. Maybe I just play a5, so when he plays here, so a3 is possible. a3, b4, this kind of stuff. So he wants the pawn of b4 to break on c5. So it's probably here. He could still castle, but I think if he plays rook b1, that kind of suggesting that this is actually the main idea that he's trying to do. You don't want to play like slow now. You don't want to play like rook b1 and then all of a sudden you castle It is a bit slow, shitty castle. He plays b3. Interesting. So we could go back like here. F5 is the goal, pretty much, and then knight f6 again. You want to break on f5. So the idea is pushing here. I mean, I felt like b3 is kind of slow, though. I mean, I don't really, like, feel it's the right way to play. But anyways, here, you could play knight g5, maybe. Trying to go to knight e6. It's not really ideal, I don't think. The reason it's not ideal because, white could, black could, could take on e6. There's nothing to worry about here. Nothing to worry about. Just want to make sure if my stream is working very well. Just double checking though. If everything is working here. Yes, things are working fine. Lead answer. So he plays g3. So he's looking for b4 now. Then we go to knight f6. We are hitting e4. So there's no time for b4. I felt like this idea here. So I guess there's one concern here to mention. When you play here, supposedly this move should be fast, like e3, b4. So by the time you take, you want to quickly break on c5 if you can. When he plays b3, he's slowing down the idea. And now he plays the e3, but after black managed to get some play on the king side, on the, the king side. So it's white is playing it a little bit slow, but and usually the King's Indian is all about like activity, right? For white. So he plays knight g5 anyways. I could play here allowing this, supposedly. I could actually take, supposedly take is also good. I could take this way. There's also the knight could go to d4. There's a lot of things happening. Knight f5, knight d4. So here, it's probably a knight on c3. You don't want to play knight. He already moved the knight on f3 to g5. He probably wants to play knight e6 at some point. So maybe it makes sense to take with that, take that way. So he takes that way. Probably bishop takes. I don't think it's knight takes. It's probably oh, knight takes. I felt like bishop takes was the move. Maybe he was concerned about something. We'll play knight f5 with the idea of knight d4, maybe some active play. c5, knight d4. We could play b4. Who knows? Maybe b4 now. It's 6, but I have an active rook though. Watch out. Knight d4. Now to get the bishop out. That's a point to get. So my knight is sitting on d4, good square, but also I need to get the bishop out. I'm actually having an active rook. So things like rook e2, bishop f5 may be appealing. There's also some crazy ideas like h5, but I don't think it's a good idea. Bishop g4. He plays here. Makes perfect sense. Maybe he could take here. That's his aim, though. Maybe. Maybe he could take. So play bishop f5. So, I'm putting this knight on check, so it doesn't go to knight g5. The rook will be hanging on b1. Lose an exchange. He could probably take here. That's kind of interesting. I mean, does he take? It's probably heading toward the draw somehow. Should he take? Takes. I take. It's going to be like opposite color bishop kind of thing. Opposite color. He plays here. Yeah, he's not liking this activity at all, but there's potential take here, knight c2, queen e7, attack b7, takes, bishop h6. This feels like a good idea. May go for it. So the bishops are really working together. There's also this pawn is hanging, but I think he may not care if he goes here. Knight takes b4, knight queen takes b7. This should be supposedly good for white. The knight will be stuck somehow, maybe. And then eventually he gets to play here, get the rook on e1. So he's gonna probably play here, unless he's going for queen c1. But then you do have to worry about the pawn. Oh, maybe he could take back with the queen. But then we do have the active bishops. So we take. Maybe we could play queen e8 if he takes with the queen. I mean, I'm assuming he wants to take with a pawn, so keeping this queen active, right? But taking with a pawn, there's a bit concern here, bishop h6. You could take here, but I could take here, and the two bishops are very strong in this situation. Maybe he wants to play c5. But this isn't, c5 is not going to work because bishop takes h6. So this bishop getting active here. It is not attacking the pawn right now, but it might be in some lines. Should he take on b7, then we take here. So the queen on b7 might be active. I mean, he might take, though. He's likely to take on b7. He protects first. I don't know if this move is good, though. It feels a bit passive. The reason I say it's passive because I could get my queen to e8. And there's knight f6 ideas. After queen e8, just move the king to here. So this is not a big deal. So people not seeing it, if you take with the rook, the queen is hanging on e8 because the rook is defending the queen on e8, so he might be able to distract it. So if I play here, he doesn't have this because queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes e3, check, wins the rook. So this feels like a good idea. If he trades, that's good for black. We have the open file for ourselves, and then weak pawns like here. If he were to take. So I don't think he's going to take, but the real question is what to do. He took. So if anything, black is active. Knight check here, maybe just simple here. So now we are completely open file. The Rooks enjoys open file, and this open file is not easy to meet because the rook might be attacking pawns, like here, rook e4. Also concerning the time situation, black is doing well here. So this is the only move left standing. He has to play this kind of activity or he might be already lost. So the real question is, do I play something like here? He takes. I mean, I don't want to play passively. Try not to. This allows some activity. The pawns get active. Rook e4. He takes. Bishop takes. Takes here possible? I don't think he. May have to do it this way. And rook e4. So maybe this way. Opposite call bishops. You know, maybe he has some drawing chances here. This is not playable. Bishop takes e3 though. If he takes here, I have to take back. So there's no time to play rook c1. He's playing for opposite call bishops, which kind of giving him some drawing chances. Opposite call bishops does allow the defender to have some good chances for draw. But looking at the clock, I mean, with a pawn, if anything, draw or black could win, right? I don't think he should have created that weakness. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. So c6. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Okay, you don't want to allow this kind of activity. So b6, if he ever gets to play rook e1, might be a problem. Not a bad move, though. Rook takes here. Takes. I mean, here he might shift. But we could take here, so maybe this is okay. I'm attacking the bishop, though, but he's still gonna take here. I just wonder which one is more appealing. Should here check? I don't think I should allow this. So maybe a rook takes. It's gonna take here. So I'm actually attacking the bishop, but I cannot. He has to take the pawn because if you take here, there's a queen. I have to take that one, and then I'm up a pawn. The real question is, it could be still be drawn. It could be still be draw here, which is may have to get the king all the way to d8. He's now gonna play rook e1. So maybe here. So I keep attacking this one. So I'm not trying to give him any kind of break here because this is met by bishop takes check. So he plays here, but kind of shaky. He wants to play g4, g5. That makes a lot of sense. Opposite color bishops, you know. This is coming. It came. G5. Stopping the counterplay. He's gonna play here, and it feels like he's trying to play here. Maybe I have him between moves. Rook b4. So play here. If I could take another pawn, maybe it's take. He's trying to take here. Then we are back to this situation again. But now, like, I keep the tension. May still be draw. Now I have to get around. So I'm keeping him tied down, which is good though. Good for like a couple moves. Maybe here. Trying to play king d2. This is not easy to hold, though. I mean, it looks like it's easy, but ooh, now we have this new dynamic. So maybe the king is moving around. Yeah, I could see my rook is under attack. It looks like it's a draw, though. Maneuvering. Nothing to do here. We can't even win anything. Offer a draw, though. Offer a draw. Didn't want to win like this, but it's okay. Maybe we could win this one. Not much to say, except it was drawing chances. Yeah, that's a concern. Maybe we'll try to win this one, though. This is my main opening that I played for like a lot of years. Again, Tramposki opening. Yeah, I mean, I could have won, but if it's a bullet game, I mean, sometimes I could give a draw even, even in bullet game in an obvious situations like this. But... And he said, gentleman-like. That's true, but this game is gonna be hell. Supposedly, will try to win. So this is one of the more effective lines. So knight d2 is actually the idea. You want to be careful because knight b3 is happening. So you do have to take, or it's probably taking, most likely the move. And then knight b3. This one is, I don't consider this being the most precise way. Sometimes people play this, they feel like you're gaining a tempo, but they forget this is actually under attack. So I usually take this way, rook c1. E4 might be coming, e3 in some lines. This line is very comfortable for white, though. I mean, there's no trouble. If anything, white might be slightly better. So rook c1, active file. You also want to be careful. This may be playable. So yes, knight c6. e3. So this may allows bishop b5. You do have to be careful about queen b6, but that could be, you could take on c6 in some lines because the c6 pawn could be weak. e6. I mean, sometimes I could allow this and play king f2. That's okay. Even the computer doesn't mind it, having played this a lot of games over the years, 10 plus years. So this is okay. Supposedly bishop d7, maybe it's an ideal way to play. Because I could maybe take, even though you try to get the bishop pair. This is actually, this opening, believe it or not, in some lines it does favor the knights. It depends on some lines. There's one line that the knight ruled the table pretty much, and not so much the bishops. So even in this one, you could still take on c6. So here, bishop takes. I mean, you do have to be careful, though. Maybe he could get really active. I mean, queen b6 is probably happening. We could play knight e2. Sometimes you do this assuming that, this is gonna happen. Maybe use king f2. I don't have to castle because sometimes you could play g4. Yeah, you could do this. But, we talked about this is not like a bishop kind of thing. We could give him, we could trade that way. That's fine. We could trade that way. We could even play, yeah, we could castle. That's fine. He could take knight takes. Yeah, then I could go to d3. There are some, like you could jump to c5. It could get annoying if you don't know what you're doing with black. You don't want to take here with a pawn, of course. So knight takes. He could play bishop d6. You might be trying like here this kind of ideas, but don't think it's concerning here enough. I mean, I was looking at this, but bishop takes is probably maybe it's okay. I mean, along with, I mean, if I get this situation, then this is must be good for white. If you were to trade on c5. We could do it. That's fine. He could take on f4. I have to be careful though. He could take on f4. I mean, if you take here, rook takes. I'm assuming this has to be. Then the knight sitting on f4 is a good piece. Okay, so that's good to see. You don't want to take with a pawn. You just take toward, with the rook. So this feels like white is comfortable here, to be honest. You could even argue that you take, and then it's active rook, like maybe slow ideas like queen d2, rook c1, knight d3, knight e5, some kind of ideas like that. So even if he could try queen b6, but it doesn't achieve much now. He may just consider like castling rook c8. Yeah, we could take. Bishop takes. That's okay. So I'm assuming this knight is better than the bishop. And I'm likely to put my pawns in like dark squares, so that's kind of would be good for in the game. So maybe here next. So this has to be the move. Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like knight d3, but maybe bishop b5. He could trade here. So supposedly this first. He's gonna play rook c8 somehow. So we could play here with the idea of knight e5. So you can see the bishop is not really active. It's kind of goofy kind of thing. Yeah, f6, so he doesn't allow knight e5. There's knight b4, but I don't know if I want to trade. This ending is, maybe it's still something for white, but not necessarily winning. There's also like here, knight c5, but he could always play like b6, bishop b7. Hmm. Let's play this. Maybe I put here. Maybe here, but it just feels like it's kind of a draw here. I wonder if you could play bishop b5. It's probably b3 though. He played bishop b5. not easy. B3 was A4 idea. He has A5. How strong is this move, though? A5, maybe back to here. So this is actually a big move, but he's not gonna wait for it. Supposedly E5. Do I have to play knight D3 again? Takes. Yeah, it feels like some kind of a draw, but may take. It feels like a draw to me. We'll see if we could sneak in. Yeah, this is actually the problem. This is a problem. He's probably gonna take everything, and it's a draw. He may start with rook takes, maybe, and then takes, rook c8. Not much going on here. Yeah. Even here is met by this. Not much going on. He's gonna take on d3. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna leave this knight on d3. If he leaves this knight on d3, then we may have different conversation. The maneuvering back to f4, and he's not going to allow it. Not going to allow it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on. I mean, it's Queen c2, and there's not like any weakness here to play for. He's gonna take the rook and Queen b5 even. I have for a draw because there's nothing in this position to suggest. Even though I pushed, and I still can win. Can win. 2 draws. Okay, so here he's playing Jababal then maybe? Yeah, bishop f4. What is going on here? So this is actually met by Pontics Knight? That's crazy, though. Hmm. All right, let's do this. I'm getting hit by something here. I misplayed the moves. It's just kind of crazy here. Knight g4, e6, knight e5, takes. This is goofy stuff. E6. So e6, the point of e6 is actually if you take is queen takes g4. If you takes, queen takes g4. This is fireworks. So e6 is probably have to be like knight e5 to attack this. He takes here, knight takes f7. I'm not sure if this is actually who's gaining, who's doing what exactly here. Yeah, so I have to play here. Then I take back. He could take this way, but then the real question is, what did he do? What did he achieve? Because I could castle next move. It makes sense to take, but then it becomes like bishop pair. So here, knight g5, kind of interesting. Do I have knight d4? You could take here, knight g5. Castles, knight g5, e6. So there's a trick line here. Should I do this? He's going to continue pinning e6. I'm attacking on g5 because there's no more pinning. If he takes, there's rook e8. Pinning. It should work, but let's see what happens. I don't think he's going to castle. He would give it a try. There's also knight e5. So maybe if he plays here, knight e5, attack the bishop first. But he might just play here. And this is goofy kind of stuff. Yeah, I may have misplayed the moves around here. It's hard to say if I misplayed the opening. I mean, if he takes, it's okay. I mean, this feels like black would be okay. Maybe there's knight d4, action, bishop g4. He has to be careful, though. I mean, if he plays here, maybe it's just bishop g4, along with knight d4 or knight e5. And all of a sudden now, it's like I'm finding ideas against his plans. I mean, this pin is still annoying for like move or two, but yeah, he's probably considering this move. The more he's thinking about it, is it a good move? Does it is needed? Maybe he walks into like knight d4. There's also knight d4 even after here. Oh, knight takes. Maybe he could still takes bishop g5. Wow, this move a little bit too surprising. Is it rook d1? So knight d4 is bishop takes e7. That's kind of hard to believe because I could take on e2 and take on c3. No, here is probably knight takes. But knight takes, maybe then he could take back and then rook d1. What about bishop g4? Rook d1, knight d4. There's still this pin happening. He also wants rook d1. Bishop g4. All right, let's dance. It may still be rook d1, though. I mean, that's my concern. How strong is rook d1? Maybe just move the queen away. Helping with the pin here. This position is completely strange. Rook d1, maybe just move. There's also knight d4, but I'm looking at lines where he could take knight e6. He could sack his queen. I don't know if it's possible, but should not work for him. Maybe it's just knight d4. Should he play rook d1? I mean, if he castles, There's knight d4 or even knight e5. Maybe knight d4 because this attacks the queen. So he has to be careful where he's going was here because this c2 might be hanging. I mean, if he castles, maybe knight d4, maybe potential take on f3. It's hard to say though. This move, I don't think this move works. It's a pretty competitive game though. It's I mean, maybe rook d1 after all. Now that I'm thinking about it, may have to risk it. How about this move? But here's here's the issue, or here, yeah. So if this way it's Pontics, that's what it is. Huh? So he's attacking the bishop. I mean, here, if he takes with the queen, then it becomes easy for me to play, like, let's say knight here. Eventually take this bishop if I want to, and then g5 will be concerning. In some lines, he's going to take with a pawn. That's what he's want to do. Pawn takes. And he's still maintaining the pin. All right, I accept. Pawn takes, I think it's a goal. I mean, he could try this, but it doesn't mean much. Take with the queen, I don't think it's really nice. Oh, he took with the queen, but I felt like taking with the pawn was needed. There's knight e5 though. There's also knight d4. It's probably here so we could get rid of this pin in some ways. So play here. We're attacking the queen. We're also attacking the bishop at the same time. Unless he wants to take, b7 is not... Alright, so he plays queen e2, so now it's my decision what to do. This queen d4, keep pressuring, but he plays bishop b3 though. Or maybe he could take now. Yeah, likely to take. Probably takes. Queen takes. It's probably queen d4. So the idea is pretty simple. If he trade, this becomes attacked. It's probably another draw coming. Don't think he could like play here. There's like a couple of issues could happen. Oh wow, he went for this one. Where's the issues here? I'm still pinned. So if I play king h8, bishop e3 is a plan. I see. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. There's only 3 minutes left in this position. That's not good, though. 3 minutes here. Not good. There's maybe knight d5 action. Should I even go for this one? That takes knight d5. Maybe the bishop is still hanging, but... So queen check, bishop e3, bishop h6. I may have to play this. So you have to go back here, right? And then I play here. I'm trying not to make it easy for him to castle. Like, if he castles, I could still take. This position is goofy, though. It could go both ways. Maybe no draws still. So here, probably just c6. And then keeping attacking here. So this feels like 95 is not the greatest idea. I mean, what does he do? Like, he plays castles anyway. Maybe he could castle rook e1. That's actually playable, but... oh, wow, he took. Did not expect he would take this check. I'm still pinned, by the way, which is not good. How about we trade now? I mean, up a pawn, but it's not good enough. He could even take. Not a good pawn yet. I'm trying to get rid of this pin on f7. If you're not really careful, there's like rook takes ideas here, and I'm still able to defend, but with the wrong setup, this pin could become a problem here. So what about knight d5? I mean, the real issue is you take knight takes e7. I mean, yeah, there's knight takes. May have to do it though. Maybe the knight is trapped somehow. Trappy. His knight takes c7. I have to move the rook. So he's guaranteed to take back the pawn. Maybe c6. C6 here, knight e6. This is a kind of a problem. Another draw offer, but 3 draws in a row. It's incredible, sir. I mean, I don't know. Can't even beat this guy. 3 draws in a row. No wins. Yeah, so this is a draw, perhaps. I mean, I will check with the computer to see, like, yeah, it's a draw. The computer is basically saying you could see this is equal. I offer a draw for that reason. I don't think this is really the move. Because I could play, like, let's say here, and then at e6, rook f6. Black is fine. Supposedly, this is all playable. All right, we have a new game. We have an IM, somebody who is strong. Is this a female? That's pretty cool. It's good to see females playing. e6. We could play here. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah. Bishop g2. This is like a safe approach. Considering that I'm playing an IM, so maybe we exchange a couple pieces here. Maybe knight f3. This feels like it's safe game. This move is also very good, I guess. Allowing e5 to happen in some lines. Try to compete on the center as much as possible. I wonder if I could play here to stop this move. She's gonna play g6, but maybe I could play knight c3, e4, so something like here, e4. So the idea of this move, disallowing this because f5 is hanging. So I could takes, queen takes f5. That would be a free pawn. She's gonna play g6 with the idea of bishop g7, perhaps. I don't think it's bishop e7. She might be concerned about queen b3, potential attack on e6, even after d5. This feels like the pawn structure here is not as best for black. D5. Interesting. So e6 is weak, but is it takeable, right? It's not. I mean, you could always do like this kind of stuff, but it's she's able to defend. I mean, knight g5 is queen e7. The fact that I'm considering this one is kind of interesting. Maybe I have to do this kind of stuff like knight f4, just to go after e6 in some ways. All right, let's do it. It's queen e7. So e6 is under attack. I mean, there's also b3 bishop here, but she has c5. I mean, she's planning on h6 next move. Maybe here first. So she's going to play h6 to kick the knight out. I wonder if I have time for this one. c5. This is already sharp. Or knight e4. Yeah, so I don't think I would like to take here. It's I was heading toward here anyway. So I go back looking at knight f4. So maybe I could kick the knight out of e4. I'm not sure if knight e4 is a good idea, though. Maybe it is. The reason I don't like knight e4 because I could kick it the next move. So it's weird repeating. Maybe she wants to play knight d6, but f3, knight f6, bishop e3, knight f4. And then maybe queen e3 becomes the real move. Might be a real idea. So getting queen e3 to attack. So he plays h6. Not sure if I'm on board. This allows knight f4 weaknesses happening. So what happens if I play f3? She's playing knight g5. I don't think this is really the move. So f3, I'm assuming she's going to go back. Wow, look at this, knight g5. Interesting. So I could play knight f4, this knight g6. So attack both the queen and the rook. This game is really very interesting with the choices of the move, both sides, particularly black. But I don't know if I'm in fan with this. There's always like h4. And the knight would go all the way to knight f7. f7. So maybe here she's defending knight g6. So now the real question is queen e3 is playable. I'm assuming bishop d6, h4, bishop takes, but c7 is hanging. But the point of queen e3 is going after e6. Should she play this? h4. The knight would go all the way to h7. This position is very sharp. There's also here queen c6. Which idea makes sense? This is actually pretty strong too. Going to these squares. I don't think I care about this one. Even though it's hitting the rook. I mean, I still play queen c6. Supposedly I'm hitting. Actually, queen e3 might be strong enough. I'm actually forgot that I'm hitting knight d5. Wow, so you may have to move the king, though. All right, let's do it. She has to play probably here. So she doesn't get hit by that one. But then it's h4, 90. This position is completely strange. I mean, very weird setup here. So if she misplayed, let's say she plays bishop e7, there's h4, and then e6 is falling, right? Queen takes e6. Yeah, we just want to be careful we're not mentioning moves. This is still a rated game. I think there's a delay, though. There's a delay, like, is it 30 seconds delay? Like right now, I'm like on a different move, but it's still relevant. Yeah, this is still a rated game. Unrated, maybe we could goof off a little bit, but this is still rated. I think king f7 is probably the only move here. I don't think she could afford, unless she's looking for bishop d6 and take on f4 quick enough. Like by the time she plays bishop d6, actually here is that's not 95. Yeah, this is not gonna work. Yeah, bishop d6 is still. Oh, look at this. She castles long. This is goofy kind of stuff. But I feel like maybe here h4. We are heading toward here. She's probably looking at here and queen takes d4. I'm not sure if this is really the good idea though, but we'll see. h4 is kicking the knight away from defending e6. I mean, I don't know. It just feels white must be better here. I mean, if she's really gonna go for knight h7, queen takes e6, queen takes d4. There's always c3 though. Should I play that? And then d5 is weak. If anything, white should be better here. So I could even take here. If she, take here, this is like a free pawn with nothing going on. I don't know if knight g5 is a good move by her. I mean, she should have went knight f6. Wow, this game like keeps shocking me every time. There's knight takes d5, by the way. So this is actually a problem. This rook e8 does not solve the problem here. Like takes, takes, takes. I know what she's trying to do. She's looking at this and queen h6. The king might be in trouble, but I may just not take. There's also knight takes d5. And this may be still takeable. Maybe with the queen, so she doesn't have queen h6. She probably forgot about knight takes d5. It's a big grab though. I don't think it's take here, even though there's still knight takes d5. But queen h6, this queen h2 mate. So he's just gonna go with this one. Knight takes d5. She takes, she does an exchange, and the g5 is still falling. So I don't know. I don't like rook e8. She may have to move the knight. Actually, the queen is under attack. So this is actually, wait a second. So the queen is under attack. Maybe queen f7. Queen f7 with the idea that now she's attacking here. Because now that she defends a rook on e8, meaning that she could take the knight. But she lost a pawn. She lost the big pawn here. Now I could still consider this, but then there's also rook takes e2. This is not ideal. There's also here takes. She may still open up and mating idea on h2. Somehow I'm not really developed, which is annoying. Not at 4. And then she has queen h5. She's still creating chaos. Is e5. Very interesting stuff here. I mean, this is gonna be boring. Should I play back here? It's yeah. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of retreating like this, but maybe I'm playing here and knight b5. Still attacking the knight though, so she has to go back to passive square. There's g5 plans. All right, we may have to develop a piece. I mean, g5 is playable. Yeah, it is playable. It is playable. May have to play here. This is like chaos all across the map. I mean, this game is not a typical chess game. It's more like bingo. There's only 2 minutes left for me. I mean, she's creating some crazy ideas now. She wants to open up lines. I am not developed. I would love to do this kind of stuff, but it's too slow. I mean, I could have went for this even without bishop e3, but sometimes you need to develop pieces here. I mean, this is actually what I meant by instead of here, maybe here, knight b5, but so may get out of the way. Now we might be looking at this. So maybe she was g4. Okay, so now we could develop the knight. So now that's a good news. I'm still up a pawn, but looks things are looking crazy here. Develop my pieces, but it just looks like my pieces are not doing much. They're like not coordinated in a good way. It might be her too. The knight at h7 not doing much. She's trying to strike now, so obviously this is a good move. e4, we get it covered here maybe. So I play here, this is takeable. There's 95 action happening. Takes 95 or takes. I mean, I could see this diagonal being a problem. I mean, knight e5, maybe queen b5, but she has e6. Queen e4. She's probably considering here knight e5. She wants to do this on knight g4, maybe. Some weaknesses. Yeah, she went with this move. Supposedly this is a good idea. And if I play queen e3, it's f4. What a game, though. So here, e6, queen e4, knight g4. So here I could sack maybe. I mean, maybe I'm trying knight c4. I mean, sometimes this year. Maybe she doesn't have. I mean, if she could win this with this move, maybe queen c6 in between. She's looking at knight g4 though. Maybe knight g4. This is crazy stuff here, as far as I could tell you. This is hanging. So she has a shack. How strong is this shack? She didn't go for it. Okay, knight d5, stopping knight e3. I'm sacking this one so I could play queen takes b6. This is like crazy map. So here, the king it might be in trouble. If I get her to defend, we might be in a good situation. Now rook c8 is happening. I mean, this is getting crazy. Do I have this? Probably not. I wonder if this is a blunder by now. She could take though, or no? To play this, what is this move? Oh wow, she could play here, rook takes c7. That's not cool. That's not cool, miss. Not sure what's happening in this game at this point. This is like bullet. Knight takes d5. I could take the bishop. She could take here. Yeah, that's actually a big issue. Knight takes back. Knight takes back. This is like chaos. Now I might be lost. Knight goes back to g5 now, and that's... I mean, she does here. I could take this. Rook takes h6 maybe. This is still not clear, to be honest. There's a lot of chaos. This game takes... Rook f6, missed. Not sure what's happening. She could take king f3. I mean, I'm trying to win the knight. Rook h7. She's going for an attack. This is probably mate. Check king hg3. I'm stopping this. What is going on here? She could sack. Yeah, she's winning now. Checkmate. This is too much. Too much chaos. I wonder if the computer is all over the city here. Yeah, I was lost here. I was pretty much lost. Let me see. Lost. So here, yeah, this is where knight c4. Have to find knight c4. And this is chaos. I mean, there's nothing to explain that. So the computer is giving this move. So I'm hitting on b6. b6 is so here what white is winning supposedly. So something like here, and then queen takes, bishop takes c1, rook takes c1. This is like white is up a lot of pawns, supposedly here, knight d5. The knight is on h7, so something like b5, king h3. This game is hard to explain though. Knight f2, king g2, knight g4 again, then knight d6. This is like pretty insane stuff. After rook here is knight e7. The idea here, knight c8. It's unbelievable. I mean, who's gonna play all these moves in like 1 minute? Yeah, so I just want to check before. Yeah, this is actually very strong, like strong play. Supposedly here. Yeah, this is the only move. I had to go back here. There's actually a computer line where you could sack. So supposedly here, knight c3. Then you play here. Then the next move is even more laughable. It's actually e4, a6. This is actually computer stuff. b5, knight takes b5. I mean, this is like major chaos. And knight c3 and g5. And white is still keeping up. b4. This is actually computer stuff. This is like major nonsense, perhaps. I guess the computer is looking at her knight is sitting on h7, not doing much, and the king is actually subject for an attack on the queen side. So it's like a compensation kind of stuff, but it's actually chaos all across the city here. All right, maybe one more game, and then one or two games we'll see, depending on how fast. But this game took a little bit of energy here for a little bit of energy. I tried to rematch her again, but she's probably, yeah, she's playing. She's giving somebody some hell. All right, this guy we could play. Okay. Knight f6, g6, probably, yeah, English. So c5. English is a good opening. Knight c6, that's typical, perhaps. Bishop d7. Could I play here and exchange the bishop? Knight d5. I suppose I could take a knight d4. I don't know if I'm liking knight d5. The reason I don't like this move because maybe my my bishop will become very strong on d4 or this diagonal all across. So let's say he takes, bishop takes. The bishop on d4, g7 becomes pretty strong. And the pawn is blocking access to this g2 bishop. Not sure if I should do this, knowing that the bishop is not really active on g2. So this move is interesting. He's basically saying, your bishop is not that active. We could exchange it. That's what he's saying. Bishop takes. He's probably going for here. All right. So you could take here, that's fine. I'm playing on the other side of the board, maybe queen e6. I don't have to exchange the bishop because my bishop is probably better than he is. If your opponent has a good bishop or a good piece, like this situation, this is a good piece for me. His bishop is still okay, but it's not as strong as this bishop. It's being blocked right on e4. So that means, if anything, it looks like black is slightly active. If you were to do bishop g4, this kind of allows, like he could trade. And he may just have to deal with this pawn being double, but not, so that this concerning stuff that the bishop is, blocking access to e4. When you play bishop g4, white would benefit from this. I mean, he could even take, for example, if let's say here he takes e4, he's actually happy with this position. So knowing that my bishop is active, I'm not gonna trade it. So he plays b4. This move is a little bit shaky though. The reason it's shaky because I have a pawn majority on this side of the board. So this means black is probably favorite here. I mean, I could even take and here an e5 for b1. So when you have a pawn majority, that helps in the end game because this could create a pass pawn and a winning game, even equal amount of games. So you can see this is 3 for 2. He's making a little bit this situation worse by by maybe I could take and then a5. I'm playing on the queen side anyway. Maybe he's counting on like queen e1, check, king g8, but this is probably the idea. He's also here, but that becomes a weak pawn. Supposedly he takes. All right, let's take. That's fine. Maybe I play queen c3 though first. If he takes here. So I was planning here, but I see there's a check, and then rook c1. Maybe that's his idea. So he gets some kind of initiative fast enough. So if we go for here, if he wants to play here, we could trade queens with the idea that something like a5, rook c8, 2 versus 1. The rook will be active on c8. I wonder if he's going here, though. This is actually the... I mean, he's going for something crazy like this. Like maybe kind of an attack. You might be considering it. Or you might do this with the idea that the queen is not... Yeah, the queen is not sitting. So if I go here, he's going for this kind of setup. Knowing this is a plan, I may have to avoid it. So maybe queen f6. And then some kind of rook c8, e5, e4, e5, b4. I don't want to play here because this may allows here f4 in some line. Maybe queen f6 is safe. All right, let's play this. I wonder if you could play d4, but kind of it's a potential move. The real idea with this move is maybe to get some activity with like queen d3, rook c1, like shutting down this diagonal. I mean, that might be the idea. The diagonal from the queen, though. So that's kind of not a bad idea, though. Yeah, look at this. He plays d4. I don't know if he's tuning into my stream, though. Probably not. I mean, maybe he wants to play bishop g2, rook f3. Not cool, sir. He's gonna play here. Maybe you have rook c4. So rook c4 maybe getting active, attacking e3, get the other rook to c8. So rooks enjoy open files. This is one of them. I mean, open files is like the key for the rooks to be successful, or semi-open files. Like this is probably like I would consider this is like a semi-open file. Like if the pawn at b7, it's not 100% open, but so this is actually what I mean by that. Having the rooks double that way would be good, supposedly. I have to get going, to be honest. I'm running late. We could keep this for the next time. I was actually looking at this, but it's not happening. This is actually I don't know, e3, it's a move, but I was looking at this move, but this leaves b5 weak, though. I was looking at some kind of interesting idea. Let's say rook e1. This rook sack. Like, you sack the rook with the idea you take queen f3, g2 is mate. I don't think it's going to work, though. I mean, it's very close. I don't think it's going to play here. Rook c1. If he moves, he takes, queen takes f3. It's kind of neat. But that's kind of forcing... We talked about the bishop's activity. That kind of force to trade on g2. And then this becomes a problem. So you could do it this way, but then obviously he just plays queen d1. This is met by here, sadly. Maybe I could still do it and then a6. I mean, the bishop maybe not as active now because it's being shut down by pawn at b5. I'm gonna do it, but it's not a good idea. If he plays rook e1, that would be good. I don't think he's gonna play it though. There's no chance. He's probably see it. Bishop g2 all day long. Oh wow. Could we do this? Rook sack. It should work, I guess. Takes. G2 is mate. If he's tried to escape it, we just takes, and takes. There's no time for e4. It's just g2 right away. Tactics. So the idea is very simple. You want him to take. So that's the reason why bishop g2 had to be played. Bishop g2. The rook. Yeah, the rook. Eric Rosen. The rook. Oh my. So the point is actually distract him to take queen takes f3. G2 is mate. Yeah, he resigned. So there's no way out. He wants a rematch. So this is the last game. I'm running really late. I don't want to like be rude to him, but it's okay. This is gonna be the last game, and hopefully it's gonna be fast because I have to get going. So if he moved the queen away, I could still take on e1. He has to take back with the queen. Queen takes f3. And then he's still mating on g2. So there's no way he could stop it. So he has to play bishop g2 with the idea like he avoid the tactic and also, offer exchange of, bishops. Would have been ideal for him. So this is actually a Trempowski opening. We'll play knight f3. So I have to watch out for this kind of ideas. Usually I could castle long, h4, g6, h5 even. You could play queen f6, knight d7. Knight d7 is kind of interesting. This may allow taking. No, just 25. It's probably 25. Yeah, this 25. I don't think I was up, I think, yeah, that 25 was my highest. I was able to hit 25, but not, nothing like 25-01 maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, I hit 25 before. So I played h4 looking for an attack. I mean, this is probably takeable, but it's double. It's, he fixed his pawn structure. He wants to play knight b4. I'm not sure if knight b4 is a big deal here, though. I mean, he may have to be concerned about this one. Knight b4 is queen b3, putting additional. I just want to know, this is not like a move you would do. You could, but it's not ideal enough. So here is check. No, that's not cool though. I was counting on knight takes. Bishop check, king e2. This is playable. All right, we do it for the viewers. He's gonna check, king e2. No castling, that's okay. I don't feel like I need to play knight d2 again. That's gonna be a waste of move, I think. Even though knight d2 is probably the move, but. So you check king e2. I'm still attacking f5. I don't want to be slow. Just want to continue attacking. I don't think this is relevant though. This is fireworks. Queen d5. I don't know if I don't like this idea much. Maybe g4. He has h6. h6 is kind of... All right, let's do it. So you cannot take this mate on h7. The problem maybe here... The real question is, should I sack? And it should probably be ideal to open up lines. But the king is sitting on e2, though. That's actually the concern. So you cannot take people tuning in. This is made. I'm going to sack, see what happens. So that's not entirely bad. He's just opening up more lines. The king might be in trouble. If he slip a couple moves, he might be lost. But again, this is not as easy. I mean, if he doesn't take, that'll be interesting. Because then I go back to f3, and then he's wide open. And I took a pawn for free, right? So it's going to be rough. But the real concern is if he takes, could he survive? Right, that's actually the point. You open up the line. Are you sure? There's a line here where I could play rook here, doubling up, and then you're looking at mate right away. Even if it's not mate, maybe white has some momentum going forward, like including knight c4 could go here, knight e5 in some lines. So he took, it's a bit of a gambling. Maybe there's also g6 in some lines. The queen could join the party, like maybe even f6. f6 is probably kind of a loose move because he could always play g6 and maybe he's holding. Because now the queen could go to g5 that way, rescue. But f6, the point is like queen h7, but he wants to play here. So queen takes d4, there's a pen. That's what I mean by king e2. Maybe rook h4. So the idea is we're defending here, right? And we're also playing rook h1. And then we're looking at mate. Only time would tell if this is actually a mistake. Should he take on g5? So now the next move is here. No joke. This is probably good enough for white, though, supposedly, I think. So, I mean, this is going to be a problem. Could he escape that way? These moves are pretty scary, though. There's always f6. Now f6 is like, even if king f8, f6, you're looking at mate on 1. Fast enough. So if he goes here, f6, rook h8, that's the goal. He goes back, then you rook h1, and then you delivering the mate. It doesn't matter if g6 is being played. So, I don't know. This feels like a scary position to play, unless you're pretty sure you know what you're doing. I mean, maybe g6 is what he's considering. Like, oh, okay, maybe I take here, but that opens up more lines. So he plays b5. This is not relevant, because I could just play here. He takes. This is still mate, though. There's nothing stopping the mate, though. So now we can play f6. This is still not relevant. So f6, and I might be winning this, supposedly. There's also knight e5 in some line, but the problem here is this checkmate. He cannot take here, because I could take... This is actually check, right? So check, I have to take, takes, and rook check h8 mate. Cannot go here. So if I check here, this is escaping route. So I have to take with the pawn, and now there's mate. I don't know how you defend this. Yeah, you don't defend this. You just lose. If we look over the computer, I don't think... Yeah, this is mate. This is made in 16, and I'm not sure how it's 16 from here. This is shocking. 16 from here? It tells me 3 brilliant, which is, you know, I don't think there's any brilliant here, but... So here, white is winning. Yeah, I just had to go back a move to see. f6. So, is it takeable knight? That's actually the question, right? The computer is giving me f6. So you could take that way. And then the knight has to go... The computer is giving me that move. That has to be lousy for white. So f6. So sometimes you want to play the right defense, but it's not h6. Because h6 opens up the h file, right? So here the computer is basically saying you cannot take this knight. This is winning. So from here it's winning, and here I had to play. Yeah, this is actually like a strong move, rook h4, and he's just completely lost. There's also like 95, f6. Computer best move is f6. Even f6 here, which is funny. So f6 here with the idea is supposedly this. And then if you play g6, you're looking at this kind of stuff. This is like more forcing because this allows like queen takes h1 now. Yeah, the precise move is f6. But if he were to play here, I'm in trouble. So supposedly here, I just want to know if this move is good. Oh wow, look at this. Knight takes c4 is actually good. Knight takes c4 is a computer move. It's basically saying you could do this. And then you could play even king e2. The computers was in line here, but once you play queen d5, it's looking at knight h3. I was basically saying knight f4. I think during this, like how we could get to knight f4, I guess. So knight h3 is actually a good move. I mean, supposedly here, white is still active. Slightly active, but nothing serious going on. Like maybe after rook f8, then this kind of rook h. It's giving me a rook h d1. This doesn't feel like it's a good move because of queen takes f5, defending, and then rook g1. It's funny that after here, if you play g6, it's king f1 maybe? Yeah, this king f1. And then you kind of castle. White castle like in 3-4 moves manually, and then he gets to play knight f4. And then here, white could get really active. Which is funny though, king e2, and then bring the rook, king f1, and he castled. But anyways, we're gonna stop here. We are closing into 25, but that was fun. So for people doesn't know, I'm a master. People tuning in right now or watching, you should be able to tell by now I'm a national master. I've been playing for a long time, 1998, I guess, even before that when I was a little kid. So I, been streaming for a while. But streaming on YouTube is new. I mean, I have tried it in the past, and then I came back to it. So keep an eye on this content. There's streaming on YouTube, streaming on Twitch, and also doing videos on YouTube, which is all educational. I do a combination of like 1 minute chess, 3 minute, and rapid. So it's a flavor of other stuff, not just one rating category. Usually YouTube is more rapid, but there are occasionally where I could play like blitz games and rapid and also bullet in top of like rapid. So I try to do rapid as much as possible when it comes to like YouTube streaming or also on the YouTube videos. So YouTube videos is a flavor of a lot of things as well, mostly also rapid. And when I say rapid, is explaining the move as I go along. That sometimes leading me to lose on time. So the game was it was very critical because I had to move a little bit fast, and I'm explaining the moves. And obviously that kind of cost me like a loss of time that I could not really figure out the moves. Because there was a time pressure happening. But it was a fun game though. It was a fun game. She was playing really well. I also was doing well, so it's like a chaos happening. But it was a good game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be difficult. Maybe tomorrow, maybe doable. YouTube, perhaps streaming. Not sure about Twitch. So hopefully guys come back again. And, you could always look at over my other videos, YouTube videos, for educational stuff, for learning. I'm here for the long term. Explaining educational lessons is also being offered. Hey, if lessons is not working, you don't want to pay, you could look at my videos. It's learning experience. I'm a self-taught master, so obviously I have something to say here and there, right? How I make it to a master level, solo. There's a video about it if you want to take a look at it. That's also like it should be like a good video to get the idea how I was able to like get to the master level without like any kind of help, no coaching howsoever. So that's something to keep an eye on. All right, folks, I need to get going. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, likely. If it's not, the next day. I try to stream every day, though. The goal is to stream every day. Sometimes I do a combo, like streaming on Twitch and streaming on YouTube. So two separate streams, so every platform has its own stuff, not like a duplicate. So, all right, need to get going. Thank you for tuning in again, folks. We'll be back likely tomorrow or the day after. Thank you again, and have fun. There's also holidays tomorrow, so happy holiday, folks, for some of you or a lot of you. It's actually for a lot of us, all of us. So be back tomorrow. Good night, folks.